should go and subscribe it. But first of all, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Haya. Sasa tuanze. Our country, I think on Monday when I spoke on my junction, the junction is where I tell people about the topic of the day. And today on Wednesdays, we always talk about things that are happening on the trending topics, right? And currently the trending topic is none other than Stop Adani, yeah?
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my junction. And here I just want to say this. First of all, kama uko emotional leo toka. Wakenya leo nataka tuangaliane ana kwa ana. I want us to look at each other face to face. Na mniambie shida iko wapi? Where is the problem, my people? An explosion happens in pipeline. And go back to my tweet on Monday. An explosion goes off on Monday. Or in pipeline, yeah? And boom. Vitu zinalipuka. A whole shack inachomeka. For a whole week, that is the trending topic. We can't even find anything else to talk about. We even have to find topics that are related to fire to just keep the conversations going. A car which was driving on the road with people inside was flown from the ground up to 5th floor. Mimi sitawahi hii kitu mimi nitakuwa napatia kila mtu hiyo story. A whole motoka. I am not even kidding, guys. Ilibebwa na hiyo moto yenye ililipuka, hiyo gas yenye ililipuka huko hivi. Ililipuka ikaenda ikarushia gari, ikapasua tanks zenye zilikuwa juu ya hiyo nyumba. That is the only reason why it did not fly past that house. Ilisimamishwa na hizo tanks za maji. Ilipasua like 3 10,000 liter tanks. Yeah? Chirchir Davis, former, I think, energy minister, was in Dubai then. Doing what? God knows. But do we know that the Dubai is used as a money hub? Yes, we do. Sasa, he lands at JKIA, this one they are selling, and says, I just came back from Dubai, let me get to the office and confirm. Alifika kwa ofisi, akanyamaza. Kama angekuwa anko yako ni wale wanakuambia niko ka meeting kidogo, wacha nikuwekee saa hizi, alafu wanakuweka block. So Davis Chirchir did that. And then, of course, they arrested the watchman. I think it was the watchman or somebody around there who was very low. And also they said, oh, this is the truck owner, blah, blah, blah. After that, mnajua hiyo kesi imeendadi wapi? Do we even know the case number? Was the case thrown out? Is the case on? Do we know that? I guess not. Here story, tumekanyagia until the next gas explosion. Did we have a task force that was created? I think so, by either the county or the government itself. Did the report be made public? No. Will the report be made headline? No. Until the next gas explosion. Anyway, there is a lot of disasters to pick from. So let us pick another disaster. Let us go with flooding. Because now we are facing the plagues here. So flooding, we get hit by one thing called the flash floods. And we lose hundreds of Kenyans' lives. Huh? Hundreds. In fact, in Maimahi, where I always tell you, our DP was there before we went for a birthday party, witnessed a whole village that was covered in mud. Was anybody in the Kenya Railway Authority fired? Was anybody arrested? Oh, you are in the wrong country. Check next time, we will tell you so. So that one ilienda tena hivyo. Nobody was fired. Tulikuwa kumbaya masia ni kazi ya Mungu hiyo pio kwanza wakaita dam. And by the way, we need to start questioning why is Citizen TV questioning wanakuwa na very questionable terminology, yeah? So they will go there and you can look at the role of Citizen TV in discrediting the movement. Wao ndo walisema allegedly. Wao ndio walileta Morara kichinjio. Kasmuel alichinjiwa huko. Huyu Masitarus alichinjiwa pale Citizen TV, guys. Ama ni nyamaze. Natafuta kazi ya TV, si ndio? Okay, sawa. Acha tuende to move on. But just think about it. So they come back and say, allegedly. The way they do it. I really don't understand how numb we are, and I feel like we are all chasing the next talk, the next big thing. Tutaongelea nini kubwa next? So we are breezing through disasters. So after finishing that, we went to finance bill maandamano, and people are dying in their hundreds, guys. Mamia ya watu wanakufa. We have not even talked about the road accidents. Hizo hii mwezi peke yake watu karibu 40 wameenda mbinguni. We have a minister for transport. He has said nothing. Absolutely nothing. Watu wangapi wamekufa? Hundreds of people have died. Nithi Bridge. Ni gari ya miraa iliua watu ama ni gari gani? But we will not say about that. Oh, let's be accountable kidogo wa Kenya. Tuitane mkutano kidogo tu. Leo asubuhi nimesikia mtu akiongea kwa space and I was so disgusted. And I'm glad the co-host caught him on the neck. Alisema nyinyi wa Kenya mulivotia Ruto. I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. There are 3 sets of voters. Those who vote in the president, those who vote in the opposition, and those who did not vote. Sadly, those who did not vote voted in the president. So kama ulisema huku vote, kwanzia leo nataka ukiongea kwa space, nataka useme nilipigia Ruto kura. There is nothing like I didn't vote. You voted by not voting. Raila Odinga lost by less than 700,000 votes. So you contributed to Ruto being the president now. So you voted. Say, I voted. And take it up. The problem is we want to, to kaya hapo hivi tukiambiana vitu kando kando. So let us not be the type of people who keep on fooling each other here when you are talking about these things. So, people died. 60 people, according to records. But then again, I'm forced to wonder, how many kids were shot, killed by the police, and then dropped at mortuaries and booked as hit-and-run victims, as the mortuary attendants were instructed to pull out the police bullets from them? How many? Najuliza, because there was a boy in Kitengela who was done that. Bob Njagi from Kitengela and the other 2 people have not been produced in court. In fact, a habeas corpus, which is a request by the court to produce your suspect, dead or alive, has been ignored by none other than the acting Inspector General of Police, the highest ranking commandant of police in the country, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, the Constitution of Kenya right now puts the IG of police as an independent police office, like the DCI and the DPP and the NIS. They are in the same level. Watu kama Chief Justice, speakers of the houses, they do not answer to the presidency. They are their own bosses. The presidency is the boss of the executive, and the executive is the head of government. But now you guys, we want to just act like, oh, we don't know what exactly is happening here. So leo nataka tu tuitane meeting mzuri hivyo, tuambiane kwamba there is a role we also play, both of us, all of us in all this. Somebody voted for these people. In fact, by knowing very well these people are robbers, they voted for them in 2013, 2017, 2022 to be sure. And I know some idiots are planning to vote them again in 2027 in the name of Jesus. Umbwa.
Wacha niingie local.
So, nani wanasema nenda local? So, on that part, hadi hapo, disasters have been happening. Nobody has been held accountable. People have been shot in the streets. It is against the law. The president read out that people had died. None of the police officers that shot the people in the streets has been put in a minute of handcuffs. But as I speak right now, I am scared of my life because I am so easy to locate than the 70 kids that disappeared in Nyeri. Why? Because I'm questioning this. I'm questioning the fuckassery that is going on in this country. We need to stop taking our country for granted. We need to question the people who are taking us for granted, guys. We need to stop this silence. Usingoje mtoto wenu achukuliwe ndo uongee. That is what I'm trying to say here today. Usikubali ifike hapo when you had the chance to speak. Let us speak now when we can. Now when we can. Kids have been taken away. Let me read what my brother has written to me. He's more religious than I am. I'm going to say that. What I'm going to say may sound absurd, but from a different angle might make sense. The spiritual altar that whites had placed over Kenyans in our country had died, and to that effect, accident and fatal ones, to be precise, such as kids burning in dormitories, are happening as they try to feed and revive the altar. Engage everyone on this and let us hear the input, because these whites are now uneasy. Because as Kenyans and African people, generally, we are waking up from the slumber we are in, and the control of Africa and all other resources is slowly slipping out of their hands. Wangapi wanakubaliana na hii? I see Grace Olwande is here, Wanjira is here. Wanjira has a plan of going tomorrow into Nyeri with other women. Wakina mama pale hivyo wamejitokeza. One thing I like about kina mama ni kwamba wanapojitokeza, then they must be heard. We will not be touching KICC from the grounds of Uhuru Park were it not for the action of Wangari Maathai, God rest her soul, and the rest of the women that removed their clothes in Uhuru Park and fought for their country. And right now, the women of our country have stood up. They are feeling the pain in their belly. Their kids, they have seen the kids burning down, and they're looking at their kids and they're saying, it could be my son, it could be my daughter. This is a very bad place they are putting our women, but they will find out.
You are listening to Home Run with Pippi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
You're listening to Home Run, people, ladies and gentlemen. Happens here each and every weekday from 4 p.m. all the way to 9 p.m. East African time. I hope I did not cut Banani Kiongeyo very deep submission, Bwana. Okay? I hope not, because wow, look at this idiot. We'll vote them for 2027 to punish those who voted for them in 2022. Change your, I'll just say that check is so stupid, man. It's the reason why we are here. So if you're using that mentality up until today, you deserve to be whooped. Hiyo ni tabia ya kishenzi sana. If someone talks about that, kwenda kabisa. Shewa anasema msipipita kunywa kwa bili yangu, weka pale hivi kwenye tip jar yetu. Yes. I'm telling you guys, we are beyond this type of not questioning. Naona hivi JB anasema sasa ni gen zote against corruption and inept leadership. These monsters must be subdued by all means. When the time is right, everything falls in place. Godspeed, everybody. Godspeed. Thank you so much for everybody mwenye ameingia hapa hivi ndani. Wale ambao hawajasubscribe kwa channel yangu, but they una risk kupewa viboko. Ingia pale hivi kwenye pin tweet yangu and subscribe. It's a one-step thing. Or just type youtube.com/@homerunwithpp and you'll find our page there. I see Wanjira is unmuted. Wanjira, talk to me.
Hey, Pipi.
Yes.
Nikwambia leo, I don't know. I think I am feeling everything you're feeling and more. I have seen you've been following up very passionately on the in the Russia children's this issue. I don't even know that to call it a scandal. All I know is that something that has happened and the fire was not the main event. I am sorry, this is just my conspiracy theory. I do not believe that the fire was the main event. I have seen alternative news saying that the number is not even 70 children. It's saying it's 93 children. Hey, Mungu wangu. Haya. Now, let me not even talk about that. I want to talk about what you talked about, which is a writ of habeas corpus, which is produce the body. In all of the rights that there are in the Bill of Rights in Kenya, just a writ of habeas corpus and 3 other rights are not limited, cannot be limited. So ideally, there is no getting out of a writ of habeas corpus if you're Masengeli. You are, if the court says bring the body, you bring the body. There's no other way to do things. So let me just start there, that right is not and cannot be limited. Constitutionally, there is no limit to the writ of habeas corpus. And that is what I want to say. So every time you talk about Gilbert Masengeli and the writ of habeas corpus, I need you to include there that right cannot be limited. There is no 2 ways about going for a habeas corpus. That if someone is arrested, they were in police custody or whatever else, Gilbert Masengeli has no option but to bring them to court. And that is all I want to say as far as that is concerned.
Yes, Masengeli has ignored court 7 times. I don't know, man. Mimi, it must be something. Grace Olwande, talk to me.
Yes, thank you so much, Pipi. And okay, these issues are disturbing, and mi nataka kuwarudisha tu hapo nyuma. As in, we Kenyans tunasahau vitu haraka, and especially when we talk about one thing 1 week, then watu wanaisahau. And I want to bring you back. I remember in 2017, there was something called Voters Operation. I remember it was Uhuru Kenyatta versus Raila Odinga. People were voting for after the nullification of presidential election. There was this car that when people were demonstrating, alikuwa na gonga mtu, anakanyaga, anaenda kwa the next person, anaenda kwa the next. In fact, that car hit like 8 people in a row. It was only in the news once, plus the number plate, then hiyo kesi ikakanyagiliwa mbali. But I want Kenyans to change their mentality, because for me, I did not vote for this government. But I've realized even if I could have not voted for it, the person I would have voted for would have been the same. So it's high time, Kenyans, we change our mentality in terms of how we view our leaders and in terms of how we plan for leadership. We have to choose people based on their capabilities, not based on their tribal basis or based on ni mtu wetu, son wetu, whoever. Personally, I've not been so much interested in politics until I realized that when I don't put myself in the forefront, to defend my rights, it means that my children will suffer, my grandchildren will suffer, my whole generation to come will suffer. Sasa saizi kitu inaendelea, apart from, I'll not, before I talk about the fire incident, naona Alfred Mutua anasema kuwa anataka conduct road shows with taxpayers money to encourage brain drain. Watu watoke Kenya waende 13,000 youths waende wafanye kazi countries za nje. Jana tuliona a lady mwenye ametoka Middle East. In fact, alikuwa deported to Kenya, the next day she died. And she was so thin. Inamaanisha our people are suffering. Our people, kuna kitu inaitwa modern slavery, of which I know so many people don't know. Modern slavery, mtu anakupeleka abroad, unafanya kazi kama punda with low pay, na your government is doing nothing about it. And I want to urge all the youths here, if you're going abroad, look for a good job yourself. Maybe look for a B1 visa, that when you reach abroad, you are going to do a job based on your career. Hii maneno ya watu kubebana wanaenda abroad ati unaenda tu kutafuta kazi. You end up wasting your career after going through your degree and masters. Unatoka huko, there is nothing much you've achieved, because something should not cheat you at ukienda abroad ndo maisha kuwa rahisi. Abroad, yes, there is flow of money, but again, life is fucking expensive. So you have to use more money to sustain yourself to an extent. Ukiangalia kitu umefanya Kenya, hautakuwa umefanya anything. So I want to urge all the youths in this platform, let us work hard for our country. Don't think of leaving at we unaepuka shida. Kuna shida utaipuka. Hii country ni yetu, let us defend it, all of us, and let us fight for it, all of us. And let us call on Alfred Mutua. He cannot be misusing our taxpayers' money to encourage brain drain in Kenya. Now, back to whatever is happening about the children. It is saddening, and as a children rights advocate, I can say that I'm very saddened. And one thing I want to inform you is that there is something called human trafficking. The human trafficking is targeting children because they tend to believe that these children have organs that are still young, and also the organs can be used even to make some anti-aging antidotes. So it is alarming that our country saizi pale imefika hakuna security, because surely how can a school ban without people knowing about it, without even villagers witnessing it? And again, what measures are we putting in place so that we make sure that our schools are secure for our children? How are the doors? How are the windows? Is there fire assembly? Is there fire alarms? What was the county government doing? Does the disaster management exist in those counties? If they exist, what are they doing? Why were they not responding? Those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. But the most important thing that we should do, we should stand in solidarity with the women of Nyeri County, and we should take all these problems as our own problem, because we are all Kenyans. Imagine that is a future generation. These are children, for crying out loud, children. So ukiona government inasema ati hao wameenda kudonate huko rice and beans, inakuonyesha tu how pathetic this government is. Instead of putting proper measures, hao wanafikiria rice and beans. Did those children tell you that they were hungry or something? So we should be able to call out on this government, and especially hizo vitu zenye wanafanya hizo mbaya mbaya. And I can tell you, tunaenda far, na tena this government is aware. Me personally, I don't see Ruto akifika 2027 kama bado yeye ni president, with everything that is going on. So we are tired, and we are so tired, and we are ready to show this government that we are tired. You cannot tell us that you are fighting corruption and you're the one who is corrupt at the top notch. Ukiona all the tenders zinaenda Western Hotel, government tenders. Western Hotel ni ya nani? William Ruto. So we have to call out these people, and we have to tweet them mpaka wajulikane. We have a special way of communicating, which is technology, our phones, our internet. Please let us use all those things to call out this government. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for that submission, Anita Grace Olwande. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Home Run with Pipi.
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Mungami. Mungami, are you there? Mungami ni kama ametutoroka. I'll move the mic around.
Pipi, did I lose you?
Marabou Stocks, are you there? I'm here.
Wagwan, Pipi.
I had just unmuted my microphone, but now my microphone is good. Talk to me, man. Wagwan.
I'm easy, just disappointed. What can I say, man?
Talk to me about accountability now. I heard your earlier submission. Maybe you can add something on it.
Yeah, I have a lot of things to say about what is going on. But I hope I'm not going to offend anybody, because right now you mentioned something about the spiritual realm, and I think that is part of the war that we are fighting as a people, because things that are happening right now, it cannot be explained. Children disappearing, we have offerings of blood. You know, in the Babylonian days, they used to have a queen. She was called Malak, and she wanted offerings of blood from her subjects so that they could control masses. And sometimes when you look at our politicians, it's like most of them, with this traveling up and down in the world, some of them probably have picked up these dirty habits, and that is what they are employing to control the masses. However, accountability cannot be left for one person. Accountability has to be a collective. And I think as Kenyans, like you said in your junction, we really have to stop looking for the next story. I think it is Fabish who said it. Let's look for this story of Russia and deal with it conclusively before we run to another story, because also these people have found a way of creating new things every day, so that we cannot deal with one thing conclusively. We jump from one thing to another. Even before we finish, the iron is still hot. We want to put another iron on the fire. Before we hit this one, we want to go and do the hay. So they keep us running helter-skelter. We don't find time to really sit down and look at what is happening. So I think I support what Fabish said. We should really look at this and the Russia thing, and 70 children missing is not a joke, man. I shudder to think about what the families are going through right now. The parents, the extended families, what are they going through right now? You know, you can't eat when you know that your child is not eating, but now you don't know where they are. So it's really, 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 and I don't know what we are going through as human beings, like you said. I think we have become dehumanized. We don't understand who we are as a people. And I think part of these sacrifices that we're talking about, they have blinded us and they have made us so we don't feel the pain. Because I don't know, I'm really sorry for the families. I don't know what they're going through. I wish them all well, but it's really, really, really disheartening. And to know that this might not be the last time, because nobody has been held accountable, like you said. The PS is running around, mouth open, giving out food. The CS has not offered a statement. The president is receiving ESCC people in his office to couple corruption. So you see that our leaders don't even have the ability to empathize with the public. So it's up to us as a people, and I think the church has to come in this thing once and for all. If you're a church goer, please, you guys really have to style up a lot, because the church has really let us down. You're letting evil into our society. You're letting bad people rule us. And these are the consequences of wickedness when bad people are in leadership. So eventually, accountability has to come. If not today, it will come tomorrow. But what do we do in the meantime? On Friday, we are expecting a judgment for the IG of police, the acting IG of police. I'm very sure they're going to fine him and go back to office. But constitution-wise, he's supposed to be jailed for 6 months for every court order that he went against. He's also supposed to lose his office because of integrity and ethical issues. He's also supposed to produce the 3 Kitengela guys. So let's see on Friday what will happen, so that we know if the rule of law is really in effect in this country. And I think Friday will be a make and break moment in Kenyan history, because if that judge, Lawrence Mugema, does something wrong, Mugambi, if he gives this guy a pat on the shoulder just to appease us, because probably they fear the police, I think he will have opened a big wound in the hearts of Kenyans, which will take a long time for Kenyans to have recourse with the law. So the law is also in the test, and lawyers, I think there's a lawyer in the space. Please, lawyers, take it upon yourself, even if it's an individual effort. Just file something to show us that you're filing something. I like what Anthony, your colleague, is doing with Tony Gashoka and the rest of the people. Just do something. Just do something. I think right now the individual effort is also worth trying something. Thank you very much, Pipita. Keep doing what you're doing, Pipita, because your space has made us become a weapon, and that weapon is what we will use to fight this war. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you so much, Marabu Stokes, for that submission. I see Godin anasema that lady who died from Saudi, Semasco, was a runaway, commonly known as Kemboi. It's a lifestyle that killed her. Changaya, Saudi, made by Ethiopians and Yemen, requires one to eat well, not Istihara Changaya daily. I know of more than 5 killed by that changa. Huyo ni Godwin Makosi. Godwin, ingia kwenye mic kutuambia hii story. Unajua mimi naye napenda udaku, ndugu yangu. Sipendi tu ukinipa udaku. Udaku wahitaji dera, ndugu yangu. Wavuta kiti kando, waeka mchele chini, twaula mkono unaona? Ukitupa udaku. Hebu fanya hivyo Godwin, utuambie what is happening here. I want to know what happened on that one. I see Evangeline anasema tuned in and listening. Shame on the hackers. Yes, shame on them for trying to end the space. I'm glad that you guys are supportive. Normally ningekuwa end space katikati ya space, ningekuwa na watu 20. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Naona Eli amesema iko safi. I was right. That was early on when I was asking if the sound is more clearer. I hope you can hear the speakers much more clearer, ladies and gentlemen. Naona Grace anasema big up. Nani Shemboy anasema big up to you, your wise. Napenda ya akili yako ni Shem. Okay, Shem, I hope we hear from you. Vaminate anasema good evening, good people. My MPs were shocked to learn that the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs spent 1.6 billion in the fiscal year 2023-2024 to count the fish in the Indian Ocean. What was the count? I'm generally in the group of people who would want to know how many fish are in the Indian Ocean side ya Kenya. Lakini ulize kwani nchi watu wanavutanga bangi ndio wanaenda kupitisha budget, because hata bangi hawezi, tuseme moli ama diazepam. Kwa wale madaktari mnajua diazepam, ama wanakulanga diazepam, so wanaweka tu mkono inaweka signature, ni mkono tu signature diazepam. Because some of these laws, how do you spend 1.6 billion in counting fish? Joho explained that the fish stock assessment was a global practice. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, expecting from Joe is quite a lot. Buchi anasema getting rid of voters, that's the purpose of the road shows. Wameona young people will be a problem to them. So they're doing road shows. By the way, that is Alfred Mutua, the Minister for Labor, who is saying now they're going to be going all around the country. This one really caught me off guard. They're going around the country doing road shows. Yeah. I thought the story for Nani was bad. I thought the story for hii ingine ilikuwa gani? Hii yenye walikuwa wamefanya hapa hivi juzi kwa Uhuru Gardens, where they were showing this fat fuck of a guy Kasi Pool akiwa kidance kwa stage na Amina. Yeah. Kenyans for Haiti. What some nonsense is this? Najua pesa ilimwagwa, lakini what some bullshit, man, you guys involve yourselves in. As a creative, you should be ashamed of some things. Najua rent ni bei kali, lakini as a creative, you should be ashamed of yourself. Shaz kabisa. If you take part in some stupid events like that. But anyway, nobody, Kasipul ana talent. So anakusanya wakati sai kamera inamwangalia. So nobody cares. All the best to him though. Kama bado una take some cheap handouts, mtu wangu, wewe ni pumbavu. Nikwambie tu leo. But I really need to tell you guys, venye tu, I think kuna mtu amekuja akasema we need to tell people they need to resign. We also need to tell people the truth as is. Let us go to the guy like Chalo. How are you doing, Chalo?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Niko salama ndugu yangu, kusukuma siku hapa.
I'm just listening in and checking for the developments, see whether I can help you guys. You have a question?
No. We are just having a conversation kama kawaida ya kuhusu history yote ya watoto wa shule na of course this other one. Yeah, Adani.
Yeah. That issue is very sensitive. It's tragic, and I believe the Ministry of Education could have handled it better, and so that the schools that offer those services, boarding schools, could have a different type of way on how they deal with such situations, and put in protective mechanisms to deal with emergency situations like that. Anyway, I believe now it's like being a Kenyan is an extreme sport. Every day you wake up to one thing and you have to deal with it. So I'm hopeful that things will come around once you do away with this government. With the Adani deal now, we are seeing they are coming out. The people that were quote unquote involved, they are coming out because now the diplomats were making calls, and those calls really rattled this administration, because now when the diplomats from abroad, from these countries, very powerful countries that basically do most of the financing of many projects here, when they call their home countries, and then their home countries call your head of state, then definitely they have to react. And now you've seen the current cabinet secretary from Ministry of Infrastructure, Transport and Infrastructure, there at JKIA trying to quell the strike. And you can see that you really got their attention now. There are no loose ends. Now they're saying that it's no longer an agreement, it's a proposal. And you wonder what they were doing, I think about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when those people from Kenya Airports Authority went to sign, or maybe to do that due diligence. Now they're saying it's a proposal, it's not an agreement. But they can't go back now, because now they're afraid that they'll be exposed, and the money that they took, they'll have to refund it. Anyway, yeah, let me just stop there. For those who are anticipating what we'll see on Friday with Justice Lawrence Mugambi with regard to the current convict who happens to be your acting IG. The sentencing will be done, and sentencing is not just like a civil matter. He might face the full he'll face the full force of the law, just like in 2021 with the DCI Kinoti. Yeah, he'll face the full force of the law. Yeah, let me stop there. So I can hear you.
Thank you for that. Let me ask you, Chalo, is there like a sentence for someone who is in contempt of court, and will they multiply by 7 because the guy decided to if 1 is not enough, let's do it 7 times?
Okay, yeah. Under the Contempt of Court Act, Section 4, it provides for the penalty for contempt of court, and it depends on the type of court, whether it's a civil court or whether it's a criminal court. And in this case, we're dealing with, it's intertwined with civil and criminal, but it's a criminal court the way Justice Mugambi is handling it, because now we're summoning the IG to come and show cause to bring forth the arrested people, quote unquote arrested, but we know they were abducted. So the law provides for how you provide for contempt of court. For civil matters, they usually provide it's usually a fine. It's usually a fine, or for if it's not a fine, you can be even committed to civil jail. I don't know whether you understand that. For criminal contempt, that is for matters that concerning criminal matters, the judge has the discretion. When it comes to sentencing, it is always upon the judge. They have the discretion to do what they see is justified. So maybe if they think that the 6 times that he has concurrently refused to come to court, then the court might impose the sentence or fine him based on those numbers. So we're just waiting to see, because now you see Justice Mugambi had summoned the police officer who's basically in charge of all the bodyguards of the judges. And that police officer was kind of like making calls to one of the bodyguards of the judge, and he was kind of like trying to obstruct the proceedings. And you see in a situation like that, definitely there's a hidden hand somewhere, because these police officers don't just do like that. Even during the Uhuru's regime, they couldn't even dream of that. Now you can imagine right now, police officer trying to contact a bodyguard of a judge to try and obstruct or interfere with the case proceedings.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that well, because I didn't nilisoma, unajua masomo yangu haikufika vizuri. So the head of VIP, the police officer in charge of VIP protection, was the one who was calling
judicial officers. Yeah, he was the one who was calling those bodyguards. Wow.
I thought the judge was the one who was calling. Kumbe it is the other way around.
Yeah, the police officer is calling the bodyguard. Bodyguards of judges are police officers also. Yeah, they are police officers, and they are chosen based on even the judges. They participate in choosing their own police officers. Okay.
Hatari sana.
So since he's superior to that bodyguard, there's a hierarchy. So he's trying to influence him to ambia mtu wako hivi na hivi na hivi. I don't know whether you're getting me.
Oh yeah, I am. So it is like anajaribu kushadow hand huko nyuma. Now, they also were asking for his location, which is very risky also for the life of the judge. So need to protect our judges.
Yeah. Basically, it's quite shocking. It's quite shocking. Yeah, so just understand the punishment for contempt of court. The fine is like 200 Gs, 200,000 Gs, or a term exceeding 6 months. So for the six times that he had refused to come to court, Nelson Harvey was arguing that if he's going to be sentenced or committed to prison, we multiply the 6-month sentence with the times he refused to come to court. Or in the alternative, if we're going to fine him that 200 Gs, let it be drawn from his salary. Multiplying, the multiplier will be the 6 times that. Of course, he didn't come to court until the 7th time. So we multiply the penalty for the amount that is supposed to be fined with the times that he refused to come to court to, based on the court orders. So that's 200 Gs times 6. And that money must be drawn from his payslip. Okay? So those are the options we have.
Wacha tusikie hiyo ndongojea, tutaingojea in 2 days time. We'll be there.
Yeah. Today's Wednesday.
Yeah, tomorrow and
yeah, Friday. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you guys go through the Contempt of Court Act. These police officers, I think under Chapter 28 of the National Police Service Standing Orders, this is the code that governs police officers in Kenya, and even the average citizen should even be aware of this. These guys are obligated under the oath that they take to uphold and enforce court orders. They are obligated to respect court orders. The guy was giving an interview today saying that court orders must be obeyed, rule of law, blah, blah, blah. Then when he was asked, what does he think of himself disobeying those court orders? Then he was like, we cannot talk about an ongoing judicial matter. But the judicial matter itself is far gone. Sentencing, he's a convict now. He has been convicted of contempt of court. He's a convict. Now he will be sentenced on Friday for contempt of court. I know the phones right now are buzzing. They are buzzing. These people they're just, I don't know what to say. They have the guts. They'll be calling the bodyguards of the judge, and even they be asking for the number of the judge to try and talk to him. But now I believe the scales will always balance, and the law is a double-edged sword. It will cut both ways.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Home Run with PP. Kama kawaida, asante sana Chalo for that. If you like what you're doing, there is a tip line where you can support the show pale hivi juu, kwa sababu hii show yetu ina maintainiwa na nyinyi wenye mnatusikiza hapa hivi ndani. So 0721948229 is the support number. And of course, we are also on YouTube now. Just crossed the 200 subscriber mark. That is a new record for me, because we have just hit 200 subscribers in under a week. Okay. Sawa naona kile mnafanya pale hivi. So if you have not subscribed to Home Run with PV, that is HRWP on YouTube, make sure you do that before the show ends. The link is shared right there on the Jumbotron of the show, so make sure you click on that. The next target is before Friday to go and get 300 subscribers. I know it's possible. I can see a lot of you here. If you've not subscribed to HRWP, make sure you do that. I see Marabu's talks. Marabu, talk to me.
Thank you, Pepe. Real quick to the lawyer, 2 questions real quick. One is, what is the legal course of action for the parents of the 70 missing children in Russia? And secondly, Adani deal, we're being told, is on the proposal stage. So according to the PPP Act, what stage are we actually currently on? And at what stage is public participation supposed to be done on this Adani thing? Thank you very much for the time.
Okay, thank you for the question. I'll begin with the civil matter with the Adani deal, because I have a stake there. So with regard to the Adani deal, public participation should basically be initiated by the Cabinet Secretary for Transport and Infrastructure, is under Section 41 of the PPP Act. And it should come before that agreement is signed, or it should come after the proposal has been considered and has been forwarded to the Directorate of PPP. The Directorate of PPP is kind of like a subsidiary of the Treasury, Cabinet Secretary for the Treasury. Right now we have John Mbadi, who's there. So the public participation is supposed to come there. Also, Section 3 of the PPP Act introduces the concept of public participation, where it states that the principles governing PPPs in Kenya will be drawn from Article 227 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010. Also, Section 42 of the PPP Act provides many of the considerations that are put in place is issues of public interest. So public participation comes in under Section 41, 42, and Section 3 of the PPP Act. Right now, they had proceeded to do the agreement. There was no stakeholder engagement, and if there was stakeholder engagement, it was limited to the extent that it was just a few people there, a few bureaucrats there, and a few heads of airlines that were there. Not everyone who is vested with JKIA, which is a public facility, was able to give their opinions. Okay, so to that extent, we are challenging how that deal came through. It contravened Article 1, Article 2,
Marabu, can you hear Chalo?
Article 10, Article 201, Article 227 of the Constitution of Kenya. You all know that state organs like Kenya Airports Authority, as the power that they have is delegated power. Delegated from who? The Kenyan people. Go back to Article 1. When you come to Article 2, it provides for any engagements that are contrary to the Constitution are null and void to the extent of their to the extent that they contravene the Constitution. When you go to Article 201, you go to Article 10, the principles of governance in this country, they include public participation, accountability, transparency. These are things that are there. And I encourage people to visit the offices of Kenya Law to get your own hard copy of Katiba, so you can be reading it like a novel. So to that extent, we are saying in the matter that we filed, there was no public participation. The deal itself is against public interest, and it doesn't give us, it is not fiscal. It doesn't provide value for money, because these guys are asking for 18% equity stake. Then 30 years after, I mean, they're not going to build a runway. You do remember that we are approaching the dream, the Kenyan dream, Vision 2030. We can't wait till 2048 to have a runway. The money that is being purposed for the deal, it can be raised. Everybody can give out their 20 bob, 20 bob, 20 bob. We can raise that money. Those billions can be raised by Kenyan people. Is it around 238 billion? It can be raised. So to that extent, public participation wasn't done. And that's what we're going to get them with. On the other question, with regard to the children and who were victims of the fire, there are so many avenues that the parents can get recourse. At first, we have to understand that that is a criminal matter. We have had a fire, and whether it's through an arsonist, people have died. So it touches on the issue of murder, wrongful death, unlawful death, And in this case, the government usually presents the case via the DPP. They present the case. Maybe the parents can link up with advocates who can watch brief as the victims, watch brief for the victims of the fire. In this case, the government, through the ODPP, will present a case against the school, against the people who were in charge at that time the fire took place, after they have done investigations. After they have done investigations, we have experts that deal with fires in DCI. They have a way where they can, based on the charred remains, on the ashes, they have a way on how they can locate where the fire started, and they can actually find the object, even if it's a matchbox that started that fire. So if it's via an arsonist and the investigations reveal the arsonist, and then it comes out through investigations, they'll find people who they charge and they bring that case to court. And at the same time, the parents of the children, through their lawyers, will have a watch brief. Victim, there's a victim act. It provides protection for victims in Kenya, and the lawyers will follow through with the case, just like you saw with the Willie Kimani case. So the people that will be found that are responsible for that fire that caused the wrongful death of those children will be found criminally liable and will be sentenced. The parents also will sue the school through a civil claim because the school did not take the necessary precaution to try and prevent that fire. In this case, they will be sued for wrongful death, unlawful death, causing damage, injury. That will be on the civil arena, but that will come later, of course, with the evidence of the criminal case that will be filed by the state, by the government of Kenya through the DPP once the investigations are done. So there are two avenues for those parents to get justice, and justice they will get. Something like that can be happening in the 21st century, post-colonial Africa, if you get what I mean.
Chalo, are you talking from abstract point, or are you talking about something that, because we know that is not the first disaster that has gone unanswered, you know? Why you like talking actually, a lot of abstracts, bro?
No, it's not abstract, it's reality, because I don't know whether years ago, I think I was even a young man by that time, we had a fire that killed high school kids in a place called Changuli in Machakos. And those individuals that were, the people that were found liable for that fire, I can even remember the names. Somebody Mambo Ngumba or something. Leonard Mambo or some, no, it's not Leonard Mambo, it's Mambo Ngumba. They were found criminally liable for the fire that broke out and killed their fellow students in that dormitory. So that's on the criminal side. On the civil side, those parents can sue now the school. Okay, I don't know whether you're getting, Pipita.
Yeah, I'm getting, but I'm just looking at the practicability of it, because we have.
Well, justice takes a long time. It takes a long time. If you guys follow through, 10 years, 5 years. But right now, we have something that Martha Koome launched, that RRI. It's basically an initiative where court matters cases will be concluded hastily. They'll be concluded fast. They won't take a lot of time because a lot of people are following through. Yes?
Chalo, just forgive my interjection. I think you did not get me clearly. I'm worried more so about the 70 who have not been found, who are being searched for, the missing children. And then I think I support.
The missing ones.
And then let me also get you, because you are a law guy, and I think the legal system, like Pipita, is a joke. Let me tell you, basically. And I think anything legally in Kenya, unless it's a poor person going to jail, that one will work. But if it's somebody who has money, who has position, that one is a figment of somebody's imagination, which will never come to fruition. But I'm really thinking about the families. You know, when the child is passed away, and they were burnt, that one has closure already. What about these 70 families that don't have closure? What recourse? What is the law providing for them? Thank you very much.
Basically, it's the parents must do a report to the. I'm going to take you through the whole process. The parents will make a report to the police regarding the child's disappearance. The police will conduct an investigation and see.
Let me stop you there, Charlo. The police themselves yesterday said that no child was lost.
Yeah, to that extent, the police can't admit that they don't have the capacity to give you the answers. So they just come up with something and they tell you in the media, and you guys will just believe it. But the report must be made. There's no way 70 kids can disappear and nothing is going to get done. Are you following?
Yes, I'm following.
Yes. So this is a criminal case. We're dealing with an issue of kidnapping. We're dealing with an issue of abduction. Now, to that extent, the parents will make a report. This is the procedure under the law. They'll make a report that the kids are missing. The police officers, of course, will just watawajazia tu OB wapewe, and then they will be told utarudi tena. We'll just do investigations. We'll come and later and tell you the position of the kids. But through public pressure, what you guys are doing, will mounting pressure properly will make these police officers do their job. And let me tell you, you see the way Churchill just showed up at JKI, those kids are going to show up.
Okay.
And then the police will come out and say they found these kids at this place and place, this place at this time, and then they brought them back to the school.
I have time.
The media will just believe, and then people will just believe that all of a sudden these children were brought, just came out. Okay, so the parents will get the recourse, but now the government is the one that delivers justice on their behalf through the police. Don't know whether Marabu, you get what I'm saying.
Utter shocking. Let's hear from Western Shilaho.
Hi, Pipita. Hi. And everybody else on the platform. Pipita, one, I think the speaker who is trying to shed light on these issues is overly optimistic, and Marabu is very realistic. And I associate my thoughts with the Marabus. I mean, Kenya, we know the criminal justice system is broken. Even those boys that he's talking about who are accused of having caused fire in that infamous school, Kianguli or something, they walked. They did walk. If you follow that story, they walked. They were not locked up. I mean, the case just died a natural death. And those poor students became statistics. So, Pipita, you are right. There's a history to all these disasters. In fact, no one has been held to account. No one is held to account. People make noise and stuff like that, and life continues. Secondly, I'm not so sure when the speaker talks about investigations and establishing what caused the fire. Because, dousing fire, extinguishing fire, putting out fire, it's such a mechanical thing. You just have to be prepared. You need some water or fire extinguishers. Now, you want to tell me a government that is not that prepared to extinguish fire has the requisite forensic sophistication to establish what caused fire? That's much more sophisticated. To establish from a debris, from ashes, what is it exactly caused this fire? You want to tell me a government that cannot, act swiftly when fire, erupts to put it out would have the requisite sophistication to tell what caused that fire? I'm not so sure. It doesn't add up because investigations about fire are much more thorough. They require a lot much more than just carrying water in some tank or having a hydrant and you just connect it to a hose pipe and then you extinguish the fire. So I think your speaker is overly optimistic. And when he talks about kidnappings and abductions, I don't know what that means, frankly speaking. Where is the evidence that children have been kidnapped? Where is the evidence that children have been abducted? Like where is the evidence, honestly speaking? Because if they cannot be accounted for, what would be the logical inference? The logical inference would be the figure that is being bandied is conservative, honestly. Because who kidnapped the kids and took them where? Who abducted them? So I think some of these narratives pander to inefficiency. They explain away inefficiency and tardiness and lack of preparedness. And actually they trivialize human life because people cannot just disappear into thin air. I mean, children cannot just disappear into thin air. Where did they go? But then, if there has been a disaster, fire, or there was a disaster on water, no, those people have disappeared into water. And if there's been fire, the logical inference that those people were victims of the fire. How can we move from the fire and talk about kids having been, kidnapped and abducted? On what basis? Those narratives are extremely misleading and they're they explain away government inefficiency, honestly. We need not entertain them, frankly speaking. We need to call for accountability. Where are these kids? Where are these children? And only the government can answer those questions because they have the requisite machinery resources to answer those questions. So why is everybody speculating? Why? Even including the government. Why would everybody speculate? So, Pipita, those would be my thoughts, frankly speaking. The legal approach in Kenya, especially when it comes to fires in schools, it's been abysmal. And in any case, it's not a legal issue. It's not a legal issue. It's a governance issue. It's just a governance issue. If you say fires erupted in the past and investigations were carried out, recommendations were made on what to do going forward to, preempt the eruption of fires and loss of lives in schools. Why is it that some of those recommendations, which are basically commonsensical, you don't even need the policy around that. If you're a head teacher of a school and you enlist the services of a contractor to build a dormitory for your school, honestly speaking, you head teacher, you may not be schooled in construction, but it's common sense. This dormitory will have to accommodate this number of students. Safety is a concern. Show me, if it's you, the architect, who came up with the plan, where are the exit points? Show me, these doors you've designed, how will they be locked? Show me these windows, if they have been fabricated. How do they look like? You are inspecting these things. They don't need a policy. This is common sense. It's like if you enlist somebody to give you a house plan, you ask him questions. And you may not know anything about houses and drawing houses, but you ask questions from a logical perspective. And that's what we're supposed to do. So this notion that, there were policies somewhere that are not followed, or the law says this, or there were reports, should we go to reports every other time we have to do something? And then what's the point of our heads? What is the point of our heads? What is the point of those board of governors, those people who run schools? What's the point? Why are they there? To do what? Of course, they can even look at a plan and say, okay, what does this plan look like? This contractor, show us, explain to us what this plan, tell us about security vis-a-vis this plan. It does not have to take a policy. And that's why, even if there are 1,001 policies, no one follows them because policies don't safeguard life. It is people in positions of responsibility who preserve life, who safeguard life. It is the government that preserves life. How does it do it? by just people doing the right thing, making the right decisions that affect people, knowing that they deal with people, they're not dealing with inanimate things. But they don't do that. So even if you invoke policy, constitution, the law, what have you, you can come up with 1,001 laws. Frankly speaking, it's not going to work. These people will run rings around you. You just filed a petition today. You go to sleep, you're tired. You wake up tomorrow, there is another bill that contravenes the law, the constitution. You would draft another petition, you go to court. Okay, you wake up. Now, will you be doing that? You have no life to live. Your entire life, you're just filing petitions against the government that is hell-bent on breaking the law. For how long will you do that? How can you run a country like that? Okay, you've taken the Adani thing to court. The courts have said, no, it can't go ahead. Oh, you wake up the following day, I don't know, they're selling something else. It could be a port in Mombasa. It could be something else that they are selling. Now, you have to file another petition. Pipita, for how long? Can we run a country like that, honestly speaking? For how long? And when you say the courts have stopped, don't go ahead with the deal, well, after some time you realize, no, the courts have okayed it. It has been okayed. That was the same thing with Maisha number. The court stopped it at some point. Then thereafter, we realized, okay, it's being rolled out. It's being rolled out. Isn't that how it works? So why do we think that, these petitions and the legalese, legal approach is the solution to our problems? The solution to our problems is not the law, because the problem is not the law. The problem is our mindset of the political elite specifically. They have refused to think. They have refused to center the people of Kenya. So what can you do about that? What can you do? The law is not going to solve that kind of problem. It can't. Pipita, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Weston, for that. I see Kim is looking to ask Charlo. So before we get even to Charlo, thank you, Weston. I'm going to listen to Kim and roll. Kim.
Hello. I hope I'm really audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, allow me to go straight to Charlo, if you can hear me kindly.
Yeah, loud and clear. I can hear you.
Yeah, I need to get
Go ahead.
your help to understand a few things here. One, are you really asking us to rely on this Martha Koome's court that cannot even make a judgment on on that case regarding the dissolution of parliament to bring justice, really? Two, about this issue of the police now that they've decided to throw the constitution out of the window. Assuming the judge on Friday, Mugambi, decides to sentence that acting IG, are we still relying on the same police to arrest the acting IG and put the same guy in prison, really, in this Kenya?
Actually, arrest can be effected by private persons. So you guys can actually go and arrest him.
I'm sure you very kindly.
Yeah, under article under the Criminal Procedure Code, private persons are actually allowed. Just regular Kenyan citizens, they can effect arrest. So if the police don't arrest him now, remember those orders will go in perpetuity even after he leaves office. Even if he's 82 years old, he must be nabbed. And the people that are trying to protect him won't be around or won't have the strength to protect him. So eventually he'll just have to face the law. Secondly, Martha Koome has already constituted, I think, a bench to hear the issue with the 2/3 gender rule. So there was a notice that was out. I believe if you've been following developments. So I believe we're waiting for the bench to give us a notice on when they are going to start hearing the matter. For the earlier speaker, we just rely on the law. We have faith in the law. Because now, if it comes to people doing whatever they want, regardless of what the law provides, even the law enforcers, them becoming lawbreakers, we'll have a state of lawlessness. So we have faith, but remember, the Constitution also gives you power to enforce the rule of law. Kenya is an adversarial system of law. So you're saying us having to file petition. The drafters of the Constitution, the likes of the late Nzamba Kitonga, knew what they were doing when they included a protective mechanism under Article 165 of the Constitution of Kenya. Kenya being an adversarial system of law, the courts don't move on their own motion to try and enforce such things like the Adani dealings, to monitor whether the state, the executive or the legislature has complied with the law. It is the citizens that exercise this right that is provided for under Article 165, Article 23, Article 24. So Kenya being an adversarial system, I know it's tiresome, and I know it really takes a toll on the energy. You wake up tomorrow, something new has developed, you go file a petition. So Kenya is just an adversarial system of law. So it is upon the citizens to be the watchdogs. That's why you hear Article 2 providing that, Article 3 providing that the defense of the Constitution, every person, every Kenyan citizen has the obligation to respect, uphold, and defend this Constitution. How do you defend it? At the remedies, protective mechanisms under Article 165, under Article 22, 23, 24. Yeah.
Allow me interrupt, Chalo.
Yes.
I'm sure you are aware of the Ndegwa Mohoro, the former CID boss. I'm sure you are aware at some point in life he did do whatever Masengeli is doing. He disobeyed court orders. He didn't show up for summons, and he was sentenced to a 4-month sentence. How is that going, really? If you try to relate what you are saying with the
4-month sentence, maybe I'm not quite versed with that. Is it CID or DCI?
It was the former CID, and then it was renamed to DCI.
I'm not pertinent to those facts, but based on
there was a guy called Ndegwa Mohoro.
Okay.
Yes, kindly go check on that and see the guy was sentenced, and now that he's a civilian. Do you see anything happening to the guy?
No, I once you serve that sentence, once you serve the contempt of court sentence, that is over. It's over. It's like somebody being sentenced to 30 years. Once you serve the 30-year sentence, you can't come to get arrested again or get convicted again. That is the law.
The very last one, so that I can let other speakers speak.
Definitely.
Now, you're very aware we always say justice delayed is justice denied. Because from the sense, from whatever you're telling us not to get tired with the long process, you're telling me I can still today, very confident that I'll have a case, a very long case, and I can enjoy a lot of freedom, and then I can be jailed at 80. Is really that what you are telling me? And also, kindly update me on, is there a very special provision where you can file such a case of enforcing accountability, especially for scenario involving loss of lives? Do you have?
Yes, we have
a certificate of urgency you can use to file such a case and force special sittings, including on a Sunday, to quicken such a thing? And why are they not being used at the moment?
They are there. The mechanisms are there. For example, is there a mechanism for you to enforce such a thing? Let's say somebody has stolen public funds. You can initiate something called private prosecution. Although the EACC has a monopoly over such matters. If somebody commits a crime, you can initiate a private prosecution with regard to that branch of law that is dealing with the criminal capability, fraud, embezzlement, corruption. With regard to the state, that is legislature, the parliament, not following the law, you can still initiate, like the way you see Okiya Omtata doing, a petition.
judicial review requiring to quash that decision, prohibitive order. There's still a mechanism for that. The mechanisms are there. It is the people now who have to identify them and proceed to enforce them, proceed to realize them, proceed to actualize them. So the mechanisms are there. So for the issue that a person is stealing and then he eats the money and then he waits until he's 8 years, it doesn't work like that. If he's reported that he is stolen money, he'll be held accountable. Right now we're dealing with people, we have people like Mandago. Mandago and that scandal, the foreign scholarship, the scholarship scandal. These people are in court. Mandago is not 8 years old. The law already caught up with him. It was the citizens that cried out and investigations commenced, and that guy was today, was it today or yesterday?
Now that you've raised that one, now that you've raised that Mandago story, because I feel like you're also taking us on an IQ marathon, bro. Is Mandago, is that the same Mandago who's Jonathan B, who is the current governor in Gishu, has not showed up to court and is also facing contempt of court charges? Am I glitching?
An application was filed.
Am I glitching?
You're not glitching. You're very clear. To the best of my knowledge, I believe there was an application that was filed to lift those warrants.
And they were pulled out again. The judge again cancelled them. Are we together?
Yes. When an application, there's a mechanism, a device called review.
Kwa hiyo you're not the first lawyer.
Let me tell you what happened.
You're not the first lawyer we have posted, so don't take us on an IQ marathon, bro.
When Masengeli was convicted of contempt of court, his lawyers there made an application for the judge to review those orders. Guess what? Mugambi refused. Now, when you go to that court, is it in Nakuru or Eldoret? That court, an application was made to review those orders for warrant of arrest. And it seems the judge accepted. And those orders were lifted. Are we together up to that point?
Who made the application? Is it a lawyer or the ODPP? And is the ODPP allowed to file such?
Well, you know, when you make an application to lift the orders, we have the ODPP representing the state and the person representing the accused persons, in this case, let's say that Governor B, right? His lawyer will make an application to review those orders. To review.
So who made the application in wherever for that Mandago case? Is it the lawyer or is it the ODPP?
No, it's not the ODPP, it was the lawyer.
Why is it being challenged? Because it is the ODPP who went to file that.
Come again?
Why do we have legal people challenging that thing that was filed by the ODPP? Because
it's not legal people that are challenging. Once you're accused in a court of law of committing a criminal offense, Article 50 of the Constitution gives you the right to legal representation. You can find a lawyer to come and defend you. Are we together up to that point?
Go on.
Now, to that extent, your lawyer will act in your best interests. And in your best interest, if a warrant of arrest has been issued against you, he might apply orally to have those orders reviewed or lifted. Are we together?
Continue.
Yes. Now, the judge will also consider the submissions of the ODPP on the other side. ODPP will come and say, no, my lord, this is he's been committing these crimes. He's a serial offender. This is not his first time. We ask that the court decline those orders. Then the judge will say, okay, you guys sit down. Let me make my ruling. And then he'll make a ruling whether he accepts or refuses or rejects that application. Are we together there?
All right. I want us to move to also role G as well as that. So I want you to wind it up, Charlo, so that we can end that back and forth between you and Kim, because I also see role G also there, and also Western looks like he wants to rebuttal the next season fly high. Yeah. So kindly in a minute. Right. Role G. DK uko hapo? Yes.
Okay, Pipita, thank you. DK, hi. Kialo, I just want to confirm one thing that you mentioned. Ulisema, those kids will be found. I just want to make sure that I heard that correctly before we go on. Are you able to respond to that? The missing kids will be found.
Yes. Okay. I'm like stepping into the role of a police officer right now, and I'm delving into criminal procedure. In this case, once the report has been made, or if the parents liaise with a lawyer like me, we'll go with the parents to the police station, we'll make our report and say so-and-so, grade 6 has been missing since Where was he last time? He was in this school. You'll also go and make a report to the Children's Department of a missing child. Now, this usually goes into the realm of criminal investigations. Under the criminal
Let me help you. Let me help you, Kiao. Okay, you answering my question. You're going too far. Okay, I asked your question. Okay, and you're well informed. I admire your experience when it comes to law. But you're saying a statement on here saying that those kids will be found. The missing kids will be found. Do you realize how dangerous that statement is?
I didn't say that the kids will be found. I'm saying the police officers, if they conduct investigations and due to public pressure, they can come out and say that they have found the kids. Then all of a sudden, in the media, we'll have statements published saying that, hey, these 70 kids have been found. That is if investigations are done properly, if the state expedites its resources.
Okay, so let me help you again. Let's avoid the if statements. Okay, the if statements do not work for us as Kenyans. Okay. So let's try to avoid that. Okay, I'm just trying to help you out here because somebody somewhere is listening to you and may know somebody somewhere who was a kid who's missing, and then you're saying the kids will be found. Okay, so I'll help you right here. I think that's a statement to avoid because we don't know where these kids are. Okay.
I'm optimistic. I'm positive.
No, negative. Okay. I don't know.
You want me to be negative, pessimist? You want me to be pessimist?
I want us to assume the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario. The
worst case scenario with regard to missing children and with regard to matters that I've dealt with. The kids usually turn up dead.
I want us to assume that.
They usually turn up dead. And
I want us to assume the worst case scenario, Kwamba, we have kids that are missing. We do not know where they are.
Okay. We have kids that are missing.
No, the if statement, again, let's not go into that.
Okay then. Okay. So the worst case scenario.
The worst case scenario is like we're worried our kids are missing. We do not know where they are.
Yeah.
Perhaps, like they're dead. So we need to get up and go on the streets and do whatever we can. And somebody somewhere.
That's at play right now as we speak. That's at play. People have rallied. People are organizing right now.
So now I think sort of we're on the same page. Okay, we are assuming the worst case scenario because in 24 hours, 48 hours, if you've not seen your kid, I'm telling you, I'm a parent. Meaning mzazi.
Yes.
And you telling my son, I'm not sijui penye yako hapa saizi mtu wote alikuwa kwa dormitory, and we do not know where they are. We cannot be optimistic hapa hivi. Listen, kama kuna majirani ambao watu walitoka kwa shule, then majirani wakaongoja, are you telling me up to right now hakuna jirani ambaye angesimama na aseme, kuna watoto 5 walikuja kwa nyumba kwa sababu ya moto, nimewashikilia hapa hivi, wazazi kujeni mchukue watoto wenyu. Are you getting it?
I'm getting you. I'm getting you.
Yes.
I'm getting you. Time
yes.
has
And I'm not yelling at you. I'm just
No.
anger.
This is the kind of conversations I usually deal with in court. So I'm used to
yes.
it.
So let's talk about the courts. Okay. Yeah. We talked about time and all that. It takes time, 7 years and all that. You mentioned that this a fire happened somewhere in the school. Something happened, people got to jail, and I don't know if people are compensated or not. At one point, for me, what I understand from what you talked about, it looks like the system is somehow working, but it's just slow. Is this correct?
The system is working, but it's slow.
Okay.
Yes.
So I will tell you right now.
But it's slow.
Tell me, tell me? Okay, if the system is working, yes. Okay, tell me about Bumbululu. Are you familiar with the Bumbululu case?
No, I can't say I have monopoly of knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. I'm a millennial, so there's at one point it happened, and I was in Kenya, and up to right now, I'll try to Google and find out what happened. You go online right now, there's no answers. It's more than 10 years. How slow is this system can be for us to find answers?
Yeah, there's something else I haven't mentioned. There's something called foul play. The police file, quote unquote, disappears. The police file contains the investigation report that has all the evidence pointing to the culprits in any matter. Foul play.
All right, you're a lawyer and you work in this system, yes. So the system is
not
working.
I have to be real with you. I can't lie to you.
Yeah.
So
okay, good. Now we're now we're getting there. Okay, so this is what I'm telling you, right? I wish you could have more people like you in the system. Okay, ask questions, but as far as saying the system is working but slow, that doesn't work for the Kenyan people. Okay, the system needs to work within 6 months. Within 6 months, top most, at least kama kuna moto, have some answers. Watu washiko wapeleke kama kunyongo waenda wanyongwe, because watoto wetu walifanya nini? They died in school and they were not prepared. They did not protect our kids. Okay,
yes.
6 months top most.
Yes, 6 months.
Yes. So you remember
story, but it's not going anywhere.
Hold on.
Yeah, we need to move more submissions. Because I don't like podcasting on my show. So make a submission, Charlo, a rebuttal, and then we get to other speakers as well.
All right, I'm gonna wind down. Yeah. I'm gonna wind down. Okay, give me a few minutes to wind down. So this is my message to anybody on here and anybody who knows somebody somewhere. Tafadhali, if you have a kid who's in boarding school, panda gari, endesha gari, panda kwanduthi, go see how your kid is. Because right now, what you're dealing with, we have no idea how those kids, most of us maybe have no ideas how those kids sleep in those dormitories. Ask questions. Why do we have one door in a dormitory? Why do we only have 2 doors in a dormitory? Okay. What about exits? What about emergency exits? Go find out about this stuff. When you guys have PTA meetings, I'm a parent-teachers meetings, ask those questions. I think right now, where it breaks down is the system in Meoza, the organs are done, gone. The government will not help you. It breaks down to the question of how, as parents, how can you go forward? How can you prevent from this happening anymore? Okay, and that's it. Thank you.
DK, I don't know if you're there, but I'd like to continue with Nexious. Nexious, how are you doing? Nexious the Great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Am I audible right now?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, I'm just doing very fine. It's just somehow I'm quite agitated with the way I think this country is being run and things are being handled. It is absolutely very disgusting the way things are handled right now. But I have a question for Charlo. And is he talking in a capacity of a lawyer, or he's talking as a lawyer representing a party? I mean, I'm just asking a simple question because I got a bigger question about that, because I'm not very, very conversant with all the laws in Kenya. But is it really, really, really a government elected by the people that is handling a very grave matters of this kind, and nothing is coming forthright? And I just have a question for Charlo, even before I continue, if he can tell me. In Kenyan laws, if you're familiar with them, and I hope so as a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer myself, but I try to educate myself. Is there any law that deals with retaliatory matters in terms of criminality, or in terms that deals with retaliatory matters? Because this has been affecting a lot of criminal proceedings, and especially criminal proceedings in private matters, because it looks like that's the only better way and a better avenue that people can go through, because the prosecutory way set by the Constitution through the people representation in the government, it does not come well on most of the cases. And I would like to have an answer before I proceed, Pipita, please.
Charlo, when you are killing, I don't want us to make it about Charlo also, guys. I want to make it out there that let us not make it about someone. On Home Run, people attack the topic, not the individual. I know you might be you might be tempted to attack the individual, but let's get to the point as well.
Listen, I'm open to the questions, because maybe I could stop speaking from a legal sense of view and try to speak to a sense where you, the common mwananchi, can understand. So next,
trust me, we have understood you. The question you're being asked is, are you speaking on a legal standpoint or not? That is the question here.
Okay, I'm speaking from a legal standpoint.
Okay, good. Next, yes. See, that is the question. That is the answer you wanted.
And also the experience we encounter in courts. So when I tell you that a case hasn't been solved for over 10 years, and I tell you it's foul play, I'm trying to give you a clue what really happens behind the doors.
Yeah, that was the part of the question. To my understanding, he's now representing any party right now for the subject that we are talking about. That's what I got from him.
He's not representing any party. He was giving us legal advice, Bonanexius. He was just telling us what is supposed to be happening. On what Kowino is saying in his comment, as is he really living in Kenya? Because also every time Charlo speaks, I'm like, am I in the same country with this man? Kowino is saying the system is working. Charlo, check the arsonist that the legal system has let off the hook in these school fires. All of this. Wako kwa list ya Dennis Onsarigo hapo hivi. Magi is asking, hapa ni wapi? I thought tuna organize for parents. Huyu ni nani ananichemsha? Yeah, that is Charlo. Naambia wazazi wende tengeneze. Unafaa viboko wewe akili. Next year, continue.
Yeah, Pipita, the other question was, because I'm trying to get educated here, and everybody else, do we have a law that deals with retaliation in criminal proceeding or any other proceedings in Kenya? Please, Carol.
Retaliation as how? Retaliation as how? Because in criminal proceedings, we have the complainant, who is the state that does it is the complainant, and the state takes the action on behalf of the complainant. In criminal proceedings,
let me give you
yes.
a better way so that we don't have a lot of time back and forth. Retaliation means, as the word what it means, a party that feels is going to undermine the cause of the law, either from the defendant or the accused, whereby I can try to intimidate, or I can be intimidated by the person I'm accusing or by the person I'm trying to go after. Is there a law that defends the retaliatory matters? Like an example, did you see the case of the lawyer that was killed and dumped somewhere in Thika? I don't remember the name of the lawyer. And that lawyer was killed because he was having another case over a policeman that had done a crime. Is there any laws that you
Yes, there's a law. It's called the Victim Protections Act. And in this case, once that lawyer was murdered, an application was filed by the lawyers for this police officer. His name is Frederick Oleliman. The Justice Lesit, refused to give that police officer bail based on the fact that there was another criminal proceeding that was going on, and that police officer had interfered with evidence by killing the lawyer and killing the victim, Josephat Mwenda, the driver, who was shot by this police officer. So taking into account the events, judicial notice, and the Victim Protections Act, that police officer was denied bail and he stayed in jail all while the trial was going. So that issue of retaliation is real, and to counter it, we came up with the Victims Protections Act. So once we prove that you are going to interfere with evidence, and you're going to interfere with this trial, and you're going to intimidate people, you're going to threaten people, you will be committed to jail until the end of the trial. Are we clear, Nexus?
Yeah, we clear up to that point. We wanted to learn about that. And Peter, I'm just not gonna waste more time. I'm just really angry about these fire incidents. And one more thing that I'm going to say is that Kenyan people cannot trust the investigation done by the police. They cannot trust. There is no trust in police system. There is even no trust in the government itself. I do not know the way forward on this one, because I'm really angry, because even the very highest office cannot stand on the podium and tell the people about this, tell the Kenyan people about this incident, where people have lost lives, where life does not matter anymore. I mean, I'm just really angry about this matter. And Pipita, I just want to yield this mic on you, because I don't want to get angry anymore. It's really depressing.
Hi. Thank you for that, Nexius. I want to go to the guy like Fly High, then Western. Fly High.
Pipita,
yes bro. Poa sana mzee. Goje.
Mi nataka kuja kuinject kesho. Nataka kwenda JKA kesho. Like mimi, I'm so unhappy with what is happening in this country. You know, what's been happening is, if you look at the government's communication strategy, it's been very, very confused. And what they've been doing is, because they know things are really going awry, ori, as other Kenyans would put it, what they're doing is they're trying to not, for us not to see as if things are too serious. So kama tuseme vitu vimeharibika 80%, wanatuambia 40%. The others will be increased steadily as ongoing damage. Mpaka ifike 80, unaona? So I think in the process of trying to even eliminate, to try and limit Kenyans' rage at the things that have been happening, they're really mishandling communication as serikali. And it's becoming, kitambo when government spoke, you could actually pay attention to it and go like, okay, government is actually doing something. But nowadays, the value of the government's word has completely deteriorated. Yani hamna At no point can the government say something na tuamini, you know. And I find it really, really painful because the government is supposed to be the representative of Kenyans' needs. I mean, the representative of our collective authority. We authorize the structures within the government to act on our behalf and in our best interests. So when you find the people who you're authorizing to act in your best interests, ndio wanawadhalilisha, and they're the ones who are basically trying to, for lack of a better way, to end you, it is extremely disconcerting. Mimi kwa kweli, I'm not going to say much about this Adani deal because we've discussed it at length in various platforms. It is just to tell you guys as Kenyans, mimi nikiwa moja wenu, I think we need to decide that enough is enough. And when I say that, I'm not saying now, I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is at some point, things must reach an end. At some point, every process must reach a conclusive end, or you can say, this is where things are going as zimefika hapa. Don't be made to feel as if you are making a mistake for demanding accountability. At the end of the day, government has got three arms for the simple reason of checks and balances. You understand? There is no system that can run unchecked. It will destroy itself. So if the government is, if the political system, the way it is designed, no longer has checks and balances because the opposition has gone to bed with the ruling party, then we as Kenyans must find a way of ensuring that we fill those gaps, because at the end of the day, we are the sovereign. Sisi ndio wenye.
Allah. We have lost him. Fly high.
Pana.
Yeah, sasa nimekusikia. Kwani ulikuwa potea?
Mina nata I think mic iko sawa. I think ni mali niko network iko unstable. But wacha ni land niseme hivi, because I was not going to say that much. Mimi kama Mkenya, wewe kama Mkenya, acheni kuitikia hizi standards za ufala wase wanajaribu kutuonyesha. If we take these things they're doing lying down, we won't have a country. Tutakuwa hivi tunasema, hey, na afadhali tunge act. You know, if you're waiting for someone else to act, jua someone else ni wewe. Hold your leaders to account. Now, please, fanyeni civic education. Not everyone has a complete picture of what is happening. You know, some people can't even believe the government can be so, I don't want to say malicious, but can be so taken over by nefarious elements if you come back, they are acting so recklessly. You cannot give the port, the central, pali ambapo, like the key linchpin in your transport network, and what is supposed to be the logistics hub for Kenya, East Africa. As in, if you look at the East African community, the biggest airport, if you don't look at Ethiopia, is actually us guys. We are the busiest as well in terms of cargo handling. We are among the busiest airports in Africa in terms of cargo. You know, as you may not know it, but Astral Air is one of the biggest cargo movers within Africa. Na si wako nini, wako JKIA. Kenya KQ Cargo, the same thing, tumeanza kuimarika. Yeah, Tanzania was asking for rights to be able to originate flights up, was asking, I think, for fifth freedom rights. Those are just aviation terms for saying where a journey can begin and end, and where can you carry and not carry. Kama hivyo yani. Ni kama rights is a stage in Tao. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is this. What we are looking at is a steady destruction of our country. Na tusipokataa saa hii, tutaona kivumbi nyinyi watu. So please, you do what you can where you are. Wangari Maathai alisema hummingbird. Hiyo tu kidogo tu hiyo majuna dharau, that hilo tone. There is something you can do in the interests of your country. So please do it. Wacheni kuaccept kitu lying down. And please do civic education. Do your best to understand what is happening. Ukipata mtu wa boda, mwambie. Ukipata mtu wa Uber, mwambie. Hata ikiwa ni karao, wacha asikie ukweli wa mambo. Kama ambiwi vizuri, wacha asikie. You know, kama ni mtu wenu wa shamba, mwambie. If it is your neighbor, ambianeni. Mkienda mkichapa drinks, ambianeni. Mkienda road trip, ambianeni. Ambieni mamanzi zenu, ambieni machali zenu. Basically, ambieni wazazi wenu. Even your shosho, tell them. Some of these shoshos you're looking at and our grandfathers, they suffered directly mbeberu. if they were not adults, but then they were small children ambao walikuwa na wazazi wao wakidhalilishwa. You understand? For some people, these memories are very fresh.
We have lost you again, Fly High. Yeah. Yes, sign nakusikia. Take the 1 minute to submit as I go to the next hour.
Wacha ni land. Nasema hivi watu, hii nchi haina watu wengine, ni yetu. Si hawa mabigi wanadai kunini kudhalilisha. So please fight for your country. Ni hayo tu.
Haya, thank you so much for that submission. Napenda vile Magia na comment hapa hivi kwenye comment section. Magi Maua anasema we are sounding like Nigerians over-educated experts. We have to act rusungu mingi too. Anyway, I'm not going to comment on that. Let's go to Western Shihalo and then Oseyo, of course, as we get to the final hour of the show. Western.
Pepita, thank you. Pepita, I don't know how we define, you said we have to, address issues. I don't know how we define lawlessness in Kenya, Pepita. I don't know. Are we only a lawless country when ordinary people are found wanting with regard to the law? What do you call a situation whereby the political elite and their friends, their allies, their family members, they constantly break the law and get away with it? What do you call that? What is that? If that's not lawlessness, I don't know what it is. So, I hear this notion that, unless we want lawlessness, when you ask questions about what is the relevance of the judiciary, what is the relevance of this thing called the rule of law vis-a-vis Kenyans' day-to-day lives? What's the relevance? That doesn't mean you're advocating lawlessness. In fact, you're asking questions why we tolerate lawlessness. Because already we have lawlessness. That's what we have effectively. If courts have to summon, an inspector general of police acting, I don't know how many times, and the person is a no-show in a court of law, that is lawlessness. That's lawlessness. In no normal society would such a thing be entertained, because they know where it leads to. It leads to anarchy. It's the kind of stuff failed states are made of. So, I think the force of the law is not reflected in how the ordinary people, mere mortals, behave. The force of the law is reflected in how those people who have got power and who can afford to ignore the law behave. That's where the force of the law is. So, going to court as many times as you wish, actually that is an indication of lawlessness. It's not an indication that the Constitution works or functions. It's not an indication that the society is robust as far as institutional frameworks are concerned. It's actually an indication that there's lawlessness and impunity. When people have constantly to litigate even things that they don't have to, that is an indication of lawlessness. Then, why do we, even after somebody has indicated that they don't deserve your trust, based on their behavior and what they have done, you've invested your trust in this person, and at every given juncture, they have let you down. Why would you continue trusting in that person? Then the problem is not the person who has no sense of integrity. The problem is you who is trusting this person. You know clearly this person, if you're to leave this person to take care of your property, the person is likely to mess up with your property. But you still let the person take care of your property. Then when you come back, well, they have messed it up. Who is to blame? So why do we trust a regime that has demonstrated that they don't deserve your trust? They don't deserve your legitimacy. Why do we trust them? Why do we even entertain what they tell us when disasters happen or when they're doing things? It could be all scandals all over the place. Why do we even entertain the explanations? Because there's evidence sufficient that they operate in opacity. There's evidence sufficient that they're averse to truth and transparency. So why do we entertain their narratives and what they tell us? So the problem is clearly not them. The problem is clearly us. And I don't want to believe that we are so beaten that, we're like abused people. We think that our tormentors can rescue us, that our tormentors have got some redeeming qualities when there's evidence that they have none. And this brings me to fetishization of the law, Pipita. One of our problems in Kenya, Pipita, and like some societies, if you observe clearly, is that we fetishize the law. What this means is that we think that the law is the magic wand. When there's a problem, all that you have to do is you waive the Constitution, you invoke the Constitution, you quote a particular provision in the Constitution, and that constitutes, a solution to that problem. It doesn't. In fact, in societies where the rule of law holds, hardly do you come across people referring to the Constitution again and again. Hardly. Why? Because to demonstrate that you actually know what the Constitution stipulates, that has to be reflected in your behavior, not in what you say, in what you do. And when it comes to the government and government people, it's not what they say, it's what they do. So policies, when it comes to the government, it's not what is written on paper, it's what people do. So what government people do, that's policy. It's not what they say policy says. It's not referring to a particular book or a particular act of parliament or a particular provision. It's what they do. So if they do contrary to the law, now that is it. That's what you have to focus on. It's not about what does the law say about the airport. What does the law say about people